Imagine waking up to find your most valuable possession stolen, and the only witness is your best friend, who refuses to say a word. In a fit of rage, a traveler makes a terrible mistake, only to find out his friend's silence was a hidden sacrifice. Watch this video until the very end, because the shocking twist in this story will completely change the way you look at the people around you. The story. Everyone has a story you cannot see. Chapter 1. The Gathering Darkness. The sun was sinking fast, painting the sky in deep shades of orange and purple. A traveler had been walking for many long hours, his boots heavy with the dust of the road. By his side walked his loyal horse, its strong legs carrying their heavy packs. Behind them trotted his old, wise dog, its gray muzzle low to the ground but its sharp eyes wide open. They were deep in the countryside, far away from any warm inn or cozy village. There was nothing around them except a vast, quiet forest. The tall trees stood like giant shadows against the fading light. Knowing they could go no further, the traveler decided it was time to stop for the night. He gently unloaded the heavy bags from the horse's back and tied the animal securely to a thick tree trunk. Exhausted from the journey, the man wrapped himself in his blanket and laid down on the hard ground. Within minutes, he fell into a deep, heavy sleep. But the old dog did not sleep. As he had done for many years, he sat quietly in the darkness, keeping watch over his master. Chapter 2. Shadows in the Night. The forest became completely still, wrapped in the cold air of midnight. Suddenly, the bushes rustled. Out from the thick leaves stepped a huge lion, its muscles moving silently under its golden fur. Its glowing eyes were fixed entirely on the horse. Sensing danger, the horse grew nervous. It shifted its hooves and let out a soft, panicked whinny. In a flash, the lion sprang forward, its sharp claws extended. But the horse was strong and brave. Instead of freezing in fear, it reared back and kicked out with its powerful hind legs. A heavy hoof struck the lion, sending a loud thud through the night air. A fierce, silent battle took place in the shadows. The lion tried again and again, but it could not overpower the strong horse. Realizing this prey would cost too much blood, the wounded lion finally gave up and slipped back into the dark woods. The old dog watched every single second of the fight. He did not bark. He did not growl. He remained as silent as a stone. Chapter 3. The Disappearance and the Anger. When the morning sun broke through the trees, the traveler opened his eyes and stretched. But his relaxed mood vanished in an instant. He looked toward the tree. The rope was cut. His horse was gone. "No, no, no," the traveler shouted, his voice echoing through the empty forest. He searched behind the bushes, looked down the path, and called out the horse's name, but there was no answer. Then, his eyes fell upon the soft dirt. He saw massive paw prints with sharp claw marks. "A lion," the traveler gasped, his face turning pale. "A lion must have come in the night and dragged my horse away." A hot wave of anger rushed through his body. He turned sharply toward the old dog, who was sitting quietly by the cold ashes of the campfire. "You were here all night," the man screamed, his voice shaking with rage. "Why didn't you bark? Why didn't you wake me up? You had one job, you useless animal." The dog did not run away. He simply looked up at his master with sad, gentle eyes, remaining completely silent. The traveler, completely blinded by his fury, picked up a heavy stick and beat the loyal dog harshly. The old dog did not cry out. He did not snap back. He just absorbed the painful blows, suffering in total silence. Chapter 4. The Unseen Truth. After a few minutes, the traveler's anger began to cool down. Gasping for air, he dropped the stick and began to look more closely at the ground. As the dust settled, he noticed something strange that he had missed before. Right next to the heavy paw prints of the lion, there were different marks in the dirt. They were human footprints, made by heavy boots. The traveler froze, his mind spinning. "This makes no sense," he muttered to himself. "If a lion took my horse, Why are there human footprints here? Because you judged too quickly without knowing the whole truth. A calm, deep voice called out from above. The traveler startled and looked up. Sitting on a high branch of an old oak tree was a wise owl, looking down at him with large, knowing eyes. What do you mean? The traveler asked, his voice suddenly small. Last night, the lion did attack, the owl explained softly. But your horse fought bravely and drove the beast away. The lion left empty-handed. But later, in the darkest hour before dawn, a cruel thief crept into your camp. He walked up to your sleeping body and held a sharp sword right against your neck. The owl blinked, looking down at the injured dog. The thief looked at your dog and whispered a terrible threat. He said that if the dog made a single sound, if he barked even once, he would drive the sword straight through your heart. Your dog was not a coward. He was not lazy. He chose to stay silent, enduring the agony of watching the thief take the horse, just to keep you alive. His silence was the only thing that saved your life. Chapter 5. The Weight of Silence. The word struck the traveler like a lightning bolt. His heart sank heavily into his chest, and a terrible, suffocating guilt rushed over him. Tears filled his eyes and spilled down his cheeks. He looked over at his loyal companion. The old dog was bruised and breathing heavily, yet he still looked at the man with nothing but pure devotion. The very animal who had sacrificed everything to protect his life was the one he had cruelly punished. The traveler fell to his knees in the dirt. He crawled over to the dog, wrapped his arms around his furry neck, and wept openly. He gently stroked the dog's head, whispering apologies over and over again. But deep down, he knew the truth. Some words cannot be taken back, some actions cannot be undone, and a single moment of blind anger can leave a scar that lasts a lifetime. The lesson of the story. So often in life, we look at the surface of things and rush to judge what we do not understand. When someone remains silent, we may quickly assume they are weak, careless, or wrong. But we must remember that not every silence comes from fear or guilt. Sometimes, people stay quiet because they are protecting someone they love. Sometimes, they are carrying a heavy burden that we cannot see, or trying to prevent a much bigger problem. Before you speak in anger, and before you pass judgment, take the time to understand the whole story. A quick judgment can become a terrible injustice, and a single moment of rage can create a regret that lasts forever. Motivation life lesson from this story. 1. Things are not always what they seem. We often look at a situation and think we know exactly what happened. The traveler saw a missing horse and lion tracks, so he assumed the dog failed him. He was completely wrong. The lesson: never assume you know the whole story just based on what you see at first glance. The truth is often hidden beneath the surface. 2. Silence can be a sign of strength, not weakness. When someone stays quiet, we sometimes think they are lazy, scared, or guilty. But the dog's silence was actually an act of incredible bravery and deep love. He stayed quiet to save his master's life. The lesson: do not mistake silence for weakness. Sometimes, people choose to stay quiet because they are protecting someone else, carrying a heavy burden, or trying to prevent a bigger problem. 3. Anger makes us blind. When the traveler got angry, his brain stopped working. He didn't look for clues, he didn't think logically, and he didn't give his loyal friend the benefit of the doubt. His anger turned him into a cruel person. The lesson: anger is a temporary madness. When you feel a sudden wave of anger, pause and breathe. Never make a decision, speak harsh words, or act when your mind is clouded by rage. 4. Some mistakes cannot be undone. The traveler realized his mistake, apologized, and cried. But he could not take back the pain he caused his loyal dog. The physical and emotional bruises were already there. The lesson: words and actions are like arrows. Once you shoot them, you cannot bring them back. A few seconds of uncontrolled anger can create a lifetime of regret and break trust that took years to build. 5. Trust those who have always been loyal. The old dog had been a faithful companion for many years. Yet, At the very first sign of trouble, the traveler forgot all those years of loyalty and instantly doubted him. The lesson: if someone has always been good, honest, and loyal to you, give them the benefit of doubt. Trust the history you have with them before you jump to a negative conclusion. A final thought for your life. Before you judge someone, ask yourself, do I really know the whole story? Take a moment to understand, listen, and look closer. Choosing patience over anger will save you from making mistakes that can never be fixed. The traveler had to live with the heavy weight of his mistake, all because he judged too quickly. Let's not make the same mistake in our own lives. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments below, have you ever regretted a moment of sudden anger? Thank you for watching, and remember, always look for the full story before you judge.